Well, it was bound to happen. And I say this time and time and time again. And, it's like these TV executives. I mean, one of two things is true. Either they know and don't care, which probably is true, because they just keep getting hired regardless of their numerous failures, or they just simply can't understand. On Sunday night, two different CW shows were trending on Twitter, one of which was Batwoman. Their uber woke take on Kate Kane. Now, obviously, Ruby Rose has been recast by Javicia, and she's fine. The acting on the show was never really the problem. It was, of course, the terrible writing. And the actors can only do so much with that. There's some cringe editing and things in CG. Again, actors, not really the actor's fault. The reason Batwoman continues to fail is not because of Javicia Leslie. It's because of the terrible writing. It was the reason the show absolutely tanked in season 1 as well. And it's the reason it continues to tank in season 2. Just a brief recap. The show premiered to 1.86 million viewers back on October 6th, 2019. It never, ever went up from there. In fact, in just 8 short weeks, they had lost over 1 million. In just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes, they lost 860,000 viewers. People tuned in because they wanted Batwoman. That's a thing. What people seem to forget is there is demand for a Batwoman show. There is was demand for Superwoman. But there's demand for these shows to be good. Yes, you can get a bunch of morons on Twitter to say hashtag slay queen and get it trending for a few hours. But these clowns aren't watching your show. The normies, the comic book fans who actually wanted a Batwoman show, want it to be well written. And again, it started on October 6th. And then by, let's say, January, it was down to just 640,000 viewers. Think about that. In just 10 episodes, it went from 1.86 million to just 600,000, losing almost 65% of its viewership. That is not a lack of interest. That is rejecting the product. Even the crossover episodes failed to really impress. While viewership up nearly 50% during crossover, was still just 800,000. That was they were in the big Arrowverse crossover episodes that they do, which is smart marketing, by the way. So again, it wasn't Ruby Rose. It wasn't the fact that nobody wanted Batwoman. It's that, like, we can't be bought. Yes, you get a bunch of articles like this written by websites like Pink News. Batwoman's Javicia Leslie points out what's glaringly obvious about the debate around gay actors playing gay roles. You can get all these kind of articles, right? But if the show is not good, we don't watch. What everyone say? Without respect, we reject. That's the saying. That's what it is. A little over a week after the CW announced they had renewed Batwoman for a 3rd season, the ratings and viewership have hit their lowest point in the show's short-lived life. Ratings have bottomed out in 1 season. What was crazy is last week, and we'll take a look at the numbers, last week the ratings were actually up. Batwoman actress Javicia Leslie celebrated the news of the renewal on Instagram at the time. She wrote, "Season 3, baby. Love you all. Bad emojis." I mean, yeah, get paid. Secure your bag, Javicia. Please don't stick around too long. Don't let it ruin your career. Now, TV series finale reports that Batwoman Season 2, Episode 4, Fair Skin, Blue Eyes, had a horrific rating of 0.1 for the 18 to 49 demo. It was almost a 40% drop from Episode 3's 0.16. Not only were the ratings in the 18 to 49 demo terrible, but again, this demo is the demo that advertisers want. That's why it's so important. But the viewership plummeted nearly 30% from episode 3 to a paltry 500,000 viewers. Now, if we look here, even just at the season 2 ratings, right? The Javicia Leslie arc, we have the show premiering with a 0.15, which is still pretty terrible. Huge drop from season 2. Even if we look at season 2 with Ruby Rose, it ended with 0.21, starting at 0.47. So you have 0.10, which is abysmal. But, you know, it had improved a little bit, to 0.16. Then we see the season premiere with all the advertising they had, just 650,000, then 620, then 700,000. So I was like, okay, here we go, you know. But now we are down to just 500,000 viewers. I get more viewers than that in a day. This is abysmal. And again, it's the terrible writing. It's where are all the people? And the, you know, the media will say, well, people just weren't ready for a black female gay superhero. No, that's not it. Where are all the tweets saying that? I see tons of tweets roasting the terrible writing. Looking back at season 1, the 4th episode had a 0.3 rating in 18 to 49 and viewership at 1.287 million. You can still see the full. I don't think it's necessarily fair to compare season 1 to season 2 too tightly because it's different actors. The season 2 episodes 4, 18 to 49, had declined over 66% compared to season 1. The viewership numbers percentage decline wasn't far off. It declined just more than 60%. The show appears to be in complete freefall when it comes to viewership, with episode 3 being an apparent anomaly. Not only are the ratings declining, but the audience scores are also going down. The Rotten Tomatoes audience score for season 2 now sits at 18%. That's down from 19% a week ago, where we reported the audience score following episode 3. On IMDb, the weighted average score now has stayed static at 3.4 out of 10, despite having almost 200 more negative 1-star reviews out of 354 total. And there might be a reason why the show is not seeing declining audience scores and viewer turnouts. YouTuber Yellowflash states, quote, "The show is awful. It was awful last year. It was awful this year. I don't even want to talk about last night's show because it was awful and I couldn't even finish it." He later adds, "The show is just horrible. The music is horrible. The writing is terrible. It's one of the absolute worst shows I've ever seen. And I don't understand how that's possible because the comics are actually pretty good. If you just stuck to the source material, you might have a good show, but instead you have this woke, virtuous show that nobody wants to watch. It's quite embarrassing." Again, and that's a great point by Yellowflash. And by the way, shout out to Yellowflash. He was on my Gina Carano mega stream. Great, hardworking YouTuber. Check him out. And ultimately, you have this disaster of a show that will go down and be used to smear the superhero fandom, in particular men, and say that, oh, they don't like, you know, they're rejecting this character, even though, again, using Gina Carano as a perfect example, she was beloved by the entire community, men and women, which completely destroyed this fake narrative that Kathleen Kennedy put out to say that, you know, all of the women in Star Wars are just hated by the fandom, you know, completely ignoring Leia, of course, because she cast people like Kelly Marie Tran, a nice woman, a fine actress, but the writing was terrible, and they made her character terrible. Rey was tolerable. I didn't not like Rey because I didn't like Daisy Ridley or because Daisy Ridley couldn't act. I didn't like Rey because the writing was terrible and she was a ridiculous Mary Sue. What you have in Batwoman is precisely the same thing. You have just terrible, god-awful writing. I mean, Ruby Rose looks like an absolute genius for bailing on this show because the writing has only gotten worse. And it's like the writers thought, hey, if we can cast, you know, it's not the children who are wrong. Is it the children? Or no, it's not me who is wrong. It's the children who is wrong meme. It's like, well, the reason the show is failing as it was in season 1 It took, Supergirl and some of the other shows in the Arrowverse, longer to fall this far. They were like, it wasn't because we're focusing on woke trash and not writing a good script. It's because we weren't woke enough. So they went out and they got, we got a gay POC now. Everyone will tune in. Looks like, just like we've always said, you actually need good writing. You actually need a good program to get tuning in. And I love that the general populace is waking up to this garbage. Stop tuning in to trash television just because it's on. Read a book, play a video game, do literally anything else. Get this trash off TV and make these people actually good writers again. Because if we can continue to consume this half-effort garbage, then that's all we're going to continue to get. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.